never stop shill bidding. It makes them more money. All right, John, do you want to talk about the time, when I was talking about Mark's cards and when it came to what happened in regards to the situation Jeff Berwick in Chile?
Oh well, Jeff Berwick in Chile. That was a funny one. No, it wasn't funny actually at all. So anyway, what he had was some like John Galt inspired uh, anarcho-capitalist sort of getaway where he basically sold a bunch of people about coming to live in this complete free society in Chile, which talk I don't know, it just baffles me. I don't think of maybe Chile has some economic freedom measurements, but I don't know. Anyway, he was selling all these people on this sort of great, I guess, reservation, self-sustaining, and all this other stuff. And basically, what he claimed is the person he made deals with took the money and just left. And that's what basically happened is that all the people who invested bought property there. The people they were selling to were actually uh, I would say in the upper echelon of wealth. They weren't billionaires, but they were really well off people, definitely millionaires. And they were selling all sorts of property. And they just took the money and they left. And that was actually very common in the industry. Uh, I'm not going to say who else happened, but I remember in my industry when I was selling, there was someone who made third party deals to store metal in, I forget where in Latin America, but South America, not Central. And as soon as they got the money to store all these types of metals, they took it and ran. And there was no way to, since they were not U.S. citizens or U.S. citizenry, they were just living in South America. There was no way to really get after them. So luckily, people bought insurance. There was insurance. And so a lot of people didn't lose money in this case. But yeah, with Jeff Berwick, though, people lost their shirts because they didn't have any insurance on the homes. They didn't have uh, a lot of different things. But I even read one time there was not even homes or anything resembling a sustainable community even being built. There was like a water pipeline or like some plumbing, and that's it. And then they stopped.
Yeah, it was a Ponzi scheme, and just like with I'll call him Karl Marx, he took the money and he didn't segregate the funds. And who defends this guy? It was the great negotiator. The great negotiator keeps on defending him. I guess he defends Ponzi schemes, right? Alrighty, C&T Collectibles, not comment sections. Brandon Ryan, laugh out loud. Okay.
The other thing too is like when dealing with the industry one, with the storage one in South America, they did the same thing where they bought a storage, big storage facility, whatnot. They spent some of the money on that, and then they took the rest and ran. And they just made it look like they were, and that was mainly to raise more money. So yeah, that was very, very,
Sketchy.
yeah, very sketchy. But it's unfortunately it's common in markets, and it happens generally at the top of markets or in the beginning. Like bear markets run in stages. The first stage of the bear market where people are in denial a bear market is coming or is here, and you might want to stay away from this asset for a while.
Yeah. So that Karl Marx thing happened. All that Ponzi was going on last year towards the top of the market, and also when PSA was shut down, or I think it happened when PSA shut down. So right after the top of the market, and this came into light early this year, and that's when all this crazy stuff is going on.
Yeah, the Jeff Berwick thing came into light in around
2014.
2000. Yeah, that was, a lot of these fraud schemes, if they're real, if you all you hear about is fraud, like the dot com bubble or the housing bubble, that can be a sign of a bottom, actually.
Yeah, I don't think we're at a bottom though in sports cards.
No, no, we're not.
Yeah, I
By
mean
any
it'd have to
stretch.
be a positive interest rates.
Yeah.
All right, Brendan Ryan, 20% wealth tax going to be like a Led Zeppelin. All right, all right. You definitely, Brett. You definitely like autographs and football cards. There are so many undervalued cards. The problem is no one wants to buy them. In regards to undervalued cards, I'm looking at some Gretzky, some Jordan cards as well. Basically under $40 that are graded. Could be shipped to my house. All right. The Goose Guy. Wait, let me get this. The Goose Guy, most watchers than the great curator. Richard Perez. The Great One. Is this a fake account, The Great One? Or is someone posing as him? Mr. AIH is just jealous of my success. If this is the great curator and you're coming onto my screen like this, I mean, you're pretty childish, man. I mean, you blocked me on your own account. This is just interesting, man. The Great One is weak, whoever he is. Yeah, I mean, whoever has an egotistical mindset like that just shows you that, you need to get your ego in check. Just what happens to your sports cards, when this great reset happens and the recession happens. Mr. X2M, the fake one, yeah, that you call him. The pumper one. The growth from Fanatics is going to come outside of the big three sports. That may be the case.
What does he consider the big three? I'm assuming basketball, football, baseball.
Yeah, I'm assuming those are the three.
I always called it the big four, but
Just like accounting.
yeah.
CNC Collectibles need one of those wrench guys in here. Will Sandy's, yes, AIH wrench us, your foot soldiers await you. Oh, wait, the AIH army, doesn't he call it, what, the curator army or something like that?
Oh, sweet! You got some foot soldiers now.
Yeah, I got some foot soldiers now. I never thought I'd get foot soldiers. Damn, man. I guess I have a small channel. So, John,
You should go ahead.
yeah, he called my channel like a small channel. So, but then he decides to respond to me on Instagram, but then blocks me, but tells me to come on. But it's just interesting. What is Richard Perez? What is your take of that BGS 10 Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome rookie card, which is trim that sold in PWCC auction recently? Yeah, if that story is true, I want to be careful with my words. That is definitely shady. And yeah, I have used PWCC. I think all of us have used PWCC, but once they went on their own platform, I've avoided using it. But yeah, there's a lot of hanky-panky going on.
Oh, speaking of trimmed accounts, one thing I saw on sports cards was they can say you can own a part. This is a classic sign of a top, is when they said you can own part of a Jordan PSA 10, or you can own part of
Fractionals.
rare collectible, fractional collectibles. And in the precious metals industry, they used to do those same things. Pooled silver accounts, pooled gold accounts. I rarely see them anymore. And how they sold it to you was, what we do is we just put a bunch of silver in there, and we just pull it together, and there was no storage fees.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, there's no storage fees because they're leasing it and renting it out, or for people to trade on the market. So, I mean, yeah, any of that was another sort of scam that I sort of saw, and I was like, yeah, this is a sign of a top. People are just getting way too cocky. Yeah, own part of a link